So we may just have to like start over and do everything.
All right,
We just
let's
said
start
all.
again then. Okay, let's do it again.
Take two. Okay, so for those of you who were
Do you want me to even get confused about the delay again?
no, that's okay because I've actually got the delay I think turned off. I want to make sure that like it actually comes up. So I've got it like
You can set the del. You know what you're doing.
yeah. Um, I don't know.
What? This delay?
Oh,
Set-
right, yeah. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. There's still delay in the stream. Because what you reckon? What should we do? I guess they okay. There's 2 minutes of delay, but the sounds are fixed, so that I know. It looks like it should be fine now. So I think we're good to go. There is going to be 2 minutes of delay though.
Well, let's do the intro again.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that my sounds were like completely messed up
Are you
with the
ready?
first set of
Well,
delay. So
It just never went live.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it just said
apparently so.
offline
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like the 2 minutes we thought we were waiting for it to go live. So yeah, let's just everyone like, what the hell are they talking about? We went live. We were like, hey guys, another Saturday SmackDown. You know, waiting for this to go live due to the 2 minute delay. It never went live.
it never went live, and then Ryan popped in here and even told us that it wasn't going live, and I assured him like, no, don't worry, it'll go live. It's just the delay, and then it still like was messed up and. Apparently, technology is something Zutazuta just doesn't understand super well, and
Yet you program.
yeah. But all that aside, I think we've got it set up, ready to go. We've got the
Right.
2 minutes of delay. We've got the players in the game. Without another moment's delay, I'm going to click in. I'm ready to go. Let's see some Mitoe versus Soldier action. This best of 5 series about to get underway here on
Ooh.
Saturday SmackDown.
Here comes the spin cycle.
There it is. It's not too bad.
I don't know. Yeah, it went live. Okay, we're live. Wonderful. Yes, I will be muting my mic then whilst that's going on.
How long is your average spin cycle on a washing machine? I don't even know.
I don't know. Well, it's got 24 minutes left. I don't think it's on the spin cycle just yet. It just made a bit of noise there. But yes, what's going on here? Tournament game, best of 5 between Mitoe and I Am Soldier. Sort of replacing SmackDown or in place of it, but you mentioned a 2v2 afterwards?
Yes, so we've got some 2v2 obs maps, and afterwards I think we're going to try and do a best of 3 2v2 SmackDown Smackorama, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm interested to see how that'll play out. I'm not sure which kinds of maps we have, but Sam told me earlier in the week that he was going to try and pull together some maps, and we'll see whether or not that actually takes place. Apparently Soldier wants the color yellow.
Yeah,
so
got to give it to him.
I'll let him have the color yellow if that's what he wants.
Alright, fine. So yeah, Samwise 12 looks like he's organised some 2v2s. I've never casted a 2v2 before, or team game ever actually. I gave it a go once and then never published it.
Yeah, I think we did it, but it was like a really crappy experience, and there was like a bunch of lag or something. So.
Well, that'll be fun. It'll be interesting, certainly. But
Indeed.
yes, Mitoe and I Am Soldier. Mitoe was clicked in as the Dutch beforehand. He hasn't clicked in just yet. He wasn't necessarily clicked in as Dutch. His civilization was Dutch, but that may have just been the last time he was playing Age of Empires 3. He was playing as the Dutch because Mitoe, comfortable with all civs and plays for fun a lot. Doesn't mean he wants to play Dutch, but he hasn't clicked in for the French mirror just yet, which does suggest that he is thinking about the matchup. What do you think?
I think it'll be a French mirror, honestly.
Are you ready?
I expect to see a lot
Yep.
of mirrors. I expect to see like French mirrors, German mirrors, Brit mirrors. So yeah, I think French mirror, perfectly in line with what's to be expected.
Absolutely. Clicking in as the France, a gentleman's French mirror, we may say. But this is game number 1. The players are ready. Let's get this underway. A best of 5 for the round of 16. The winner of this set will progress to the quarterfinals. The loser will be eliminated. This is single elimination, so no chances to come back. It's going to be some top-level Age of Empires 3. Mitoe and Soldier, both certainly very strong players. Mitoe, we'll start with him, a player from the sort of Mac community. and sort of really needs no introduction to the Saturday SmackDown viewers. We see a lot of him on Saturday SmackDown, as we know, a very solid player with lots of civilizations. But it's interesting that he came from the Mac community. I say this every time, and I think we ought to for the very first game of this set. In a sort of closed community, I'll let you...
For those of you who may just be joining, Interjection is currently set up in his kitchen, and apparently there's a laundry machine going on behind him, which as a result is giving us this kind of fun little clackety noise that we can hear in the back. So, but yeah, just going on Interjection's point, Mitoe, a really well-known player, and a really strong player. In Soldier, similarly, a very strong player. Both players capable of being PR40 plus at any given time. And so we can see Mitoe spawning down in the south of the map. And he was playing the French civilization. And his opponent, Soldier, spawning in the upper right side of the map, playing as well the French civilization in this French mirror. We can see both players starting off with the market. Everything looking very, very standard here at the start. Of course, important to note that it was a coin crate start here on Tibet. And as a result, neither player opting to chop the extravagant amount of wood that would be required to actually build a trading post. And as a result, we can see both players throwing down very early markets and getting very early hunting dog upgrades, as a result of which both will be powering their way through the first stage at a little bit quicker of a clip. We can also see it looks like we got a little bit of explorer action going on over here. Mitoe currently caught by Soldier, trying to break free there. For people who may not know this little trick, we can see that Mitoe is trying to slow down his opponent by snaring him, and then during the animation of Soldier's swing, trying to run away. And as a result, you can see that little bit of a gap that he gets. And if he can get unsnared for long enough so that he can break the tether that Soldier currently has on him, he may be able to get out of the way. But as it were, looks like Soldier doing a good job of keeping up with Mitoe's Explorer and doing a good job of getting as much damage in as possible. And he might, as a result, actually be able to kill Mitoe's Explorer, which killing him this far from home on this map is going to be an absolutely huge bonus for Soldier. We can see that Soldier's Explorer will have most of his hit points remaining, whereas Mitoe's and will be kind of dead out here in the middle of nowhere, making for a very awkward situation. The one fortunate thing for Mitoe is, due to the fact that he is leading this charge around the map, he is picking up the cows and able to kill them as a result. And that's resulting in him actually getting a little bit of denial of cows from his opponent as a result. And it looks like he's actually going to try... Oh, wow.
Oh, wow,
Super
nice.
high level there.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Was able to suicide to the snow leopards, denying 45 XP for Soldier. And as a result, Soldier does get this Explorer kill. I mean, the Explorer is dead, but at the same time doesn't get the 45 XP as a result, and that's pretty big when you consider the fact that how much time he invested chasing around that Explorer instead of creeping the map and picking up treasures.
Yeah, that's true. He's chasing him around, lost a lot of treasure gathering time, which is, of course, quite significant when we're looking at 80 food there. Lots of things like that on this map, certainly in the sort of inner ring. Where the players sort of spawn on. But yeah, getting last hit by the whatever it is, the Jaguar, the Snow Leopard was pretty good there. But both players now heading on up to the next stage. I think actually, despite losing his Explorer, Mitoe going to be pretty happy about his 85 wood treasure. And we'll see what that really translates. But both players, of course, getting the resources they want for steel traps. Looks like Mitoe has already gotten that, and actually a trading post being laid down for Soldier at this moment.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mitoe, he still has a dead Explorer, and so he's probably having to alter his build slightly as a result of that. I would anticipate that he would have wanted to gather resources for a trading post as well, but as a result of having a dead Explorer, it looks like he's going to have to call an audible, not going to be able to lay down that trading post, and as a result may find himself falling behind if he does, get into some sort of extended Age 2 play, or if both players get to the third age and Soldier has that trading post and they're on even grounds, Soldier will have his shipment slightly earlier, which is a fairly large bonus, especially in a mirror where those shipments are guaranteed to be the same and likely going to be the make it or break it point in these games.
Yeah, certainly having all of his first initial shipments, the early ones, that'll come one after the other, they'll come sooner, but overall just more shipments as well, sort of as you head into the later game. And in a mirror, as you mentioned, that's gonna be very, very relevant indeed. It could be the difference between, well, a couple of extra muskets or something like that. But 700 wood coming down now for both players. Soldier starting with 2 barracks here, not going to be starting with the barracks in the stable. Looks like he's intending to play a more, heavy musket focus. Isn't going to be trying to get those raids in. Perhaps is that like an alteration because it's Tibet and it's really awkward because of all of the small passages and passes in between.
I would almost say that stable is more beneficial as a result of that. If we take a look at where Mitoe's second and third hunts are, take a look at where he's currently setting up shop to be able to gather resources from. It's in locations like this. In locations like this, they're quite extended out. I mean, there's even a CDB gathering way down here. Pive Hussar roaming around the maps would have free reigns over a couple of these villagers, and especially we have to consider that Soldier had his Explorer alive this whole time. He's likely scouted some of these CDB gathering down here, but still opting for the double racks.
Yeah, double racks, and immediately this does, you think, well, more musketeers counters Mitoe right now because he's trained a couple cav, but you can usually get away with 5 cav, and the raiding potential they give you is really good. Though losing a cav, another one on fairly low HP, does it go down? That musketeer can switch, but no, it doesn't go down. Not going to lose the other cav, but yeah, I don't know, certainly raiding beneficial, but equally the pathing for cav, and you have to run quite a long way on this map, but still, certainly. We'll have to see what Soldier has in mind then without the cavalry. Yeah. Certainly going to have more musketeers and going to be able to make perhaps a more convincing push as a result of that. Maybe this is an alteration because he knew his opponent wouldn't be getting a trading post in transition or would be able to scout it quite as easily because he had no explorer. What do you think?
But at the same time, you have to consider it almost feels like that would be the position. Like if you didn't have the trading post, you would want to do the more defensive build, right? But here where he has the advantage, you would think he would want to be out on the map playing aggressively due to the fact that his opponent doesn't have any scouting information on what he's doing. It would make it a lot harder to identify, when your opponent is aging, and as a result might put Mitoe even further on the back foot. But instead he's opted for a less tempo-based play, and when you have the advantage, I don't know that that's necessarily something you want to opt for. But either way, Soldier does have a fairly scary-looking army pulling together here now, having shipped 8 crossbows, which are out earlier as a result of that trading post, and he may be able to just push in here across the middle of the map and do some pretty devastating damage to Mitoe's forward base.
I think so as well, especially with the lack of cavalry. That means he'll have more resources to spend on musketeers, and he clearly has a very solid agenda in mind with the 8 crossbowmen shipment there. A lot of people might send 600 wood and train crossbows since that is faster. 10 musketeers do pop out, but there is a reinforcing batch of units from Soldier. But with all these units sort of in the middle here, not too good, but equally should be a fairly even trade. Though the crossbowmen do get picked off by the cavalry. And I think that sort of all of the extra units that Soldier has here may have been, having said that, the cavalry aren't very good against musketeers.
Yeah, but there's going to be another batch of muskets coming up very soon for Mitoe, and if he can stabilize here behind this, as long as he still has some of these cav left alive after he stabilizes, things are going to swing very hard in his favor. We can already see they're starting to raid over here, and that's pretty much a free raid, and Soldier doesn't really have any way to defend it due to the fact that most of his musketeers are currently extended out across the middle of the map.
Yeah, and they're fighting, but actually doesn't lose any villages there. Nicely done from Soldier. Saw the cavalry coming in with the house and sends 5 musketeers down to respond, but that does mean 5 less units up in this fight here. Where they're really kind of needed, but those cavalry I guess you could say the same. They're units that aren't in this fight, but they don't really want to be.
Yeah, and the longer this goes, and the longer Mitoe can keep those 3 cav alive and continue to, spread his opponent out, the better and better it's going to get for him. We can see now that he's got got a couple of crossbowmen here in the mix with that 600 wood shipment. Soldier really looks to be on the back foot here. Things are looking pretty awkward for him. He doesn't have the mobility that Mitoe has in his army with even just a few hussars. And now that the resources are starting to run out, things are starting to look a bit bleak here for Soldier.
Yeah, Soldier sending 700 food. This is going to bolster the quantity of units he has and might be what he needs to push back out again by the looks of it with these CDBs, or are they just being used sort of defensively because they happen to be there at the time? But actually, perhaps this isn't all in. The Minutemen have been called. Carrera's coming in to fight as well, and 700 food and 3 hussars haven't been sent. 700 food, certainly not the best shipment in terms of villager seconds and cost efficiency, but it is going to translate into more units in this fight, along with the CDB and the 3 cav. This could be the push he needs to get back in, though having said that, Mitoe soon going to be popping out, maybe 10 extra musketeers, and
Eight
could even this up.
8 crossbows has just arrived here from Mitoe as well, so his army's looking quite a bit better. This is do or die for Soldier. If he does not make this push work, all of his villagers are up here in the fight, and he has to win this fight, and he has to win it convincingly in order to justify bringing his entire economy this far out.
That's true, but if he does, take out this blue army, which, looks like it's just mostly crossbowmen there. The musketeer's going to go down. Does have, those 2 cav, well, actually, they're basically dead, but it could, if he cleans this up and gains control of the area, he gains control of these military buildings and, could sort of siege them down and certainly put Mitoe under a lot of pressure to keep them alive. It looks like Mitoe bringing in his villagers as well, just as a defense here. He sort of needs the extra units to defend against the push from Soldier, but I think Mitoe has had more time to generate resources, has only just brought them in. And you see here now that Soldier is running out of military units. There's only really villagers fighting, hasn't been collecting resources, and you take a look at his resource pile, it is empty. There are no reinforcing batches of units here. And this now looks like that Mitoe has won that fight, and there isn't going to be any reinforcing units to keep this up from Soldier.
Important to note, Soldier has researched Great Cope, whereas Mitoe has not. And in addition, Soldier has just sent Pioneers.
Pioneers has arrived! Oh, wow. So here we have, mammoth tanky villages, 360 HP. They are really, really strong. They're like, an individual villager here is stronger than a musketeer. The problem is you can't train villagers in batches of 5. And
Mitoe's almost out of resources himself. He doesn't have a lot of resources. Although that being said, with these 3 hussar coming in as well.
Oh wow, yeah. These are gonna be really. They're gonna be super good here. Oh, here comes the spin cycle once more. Obviously, villagers have no melee resist. These ones at least, and cavalry gonna be really, really effective against them.
Yeah, and we can see as this fight is just continuing to go, that's going to be the nail in the coffin. Soldier calling GG, seeing those next 5 hussar, knows that he's not going to get out with any of those villagers.
What was that
Talk about a game number 1, right?
I'm not sure why he decided to do that. Where did it come from? Why not? Where was the sort of standard gentleman's French mirror? This turned into a do or die push out of nowhere. And I'm not quite sure what the circumstances were to make that sort of arise.
It felt like Soldier just kind of forced his own hands there. Like, he did have the opportunity with the early scout kill and with the trading post advantage to kind of dictate the pace of the game, and I feel like he kind of lacked to do that. He didn't actually assert his dominance in the middle of the map. He didn't make any hussar. He didn't try and continue to push the advantage with any sort of raiding potential, and as a result, Mitoe got some pretty nice raids in early in the game. If we take a look at the villager timeline, Soldier lost a villager at 6 minutes and 20 seconds, and then we can see, as the fighting begins to stabilize in the middle portion of the map, how effective those cav really start to become, and as a result, Soldier's forced to bring basically his entire economy with him, just due to the fact that if he doesn't, he's just going to get raided to pieces. We could see that starting to take place around the 9.5 minute mark, and obviously when he brings his villagers into the fight, things start to go incredibly poorly for him. But just in terms of villager population, not having the cav out on the map really hurt him, and as a result, Mitoe's able to to take a game number one in kind of a strange but also rather convincing fashion, showing why Musk-Huss is indeed superior to dual rack play.
Yeah, cavalry certainly very useful, and maybe that is the reason Soldier chose to send all his villagers out. He recognized at that point in the game, all right, I don't have a stable. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't build one because he forgot. Unlikely. Maybe he chose to do this. Maybe it was sort of off the back of killing the opponent's explorer. He wanted some sort of unexpected. He can't scout this very well. Extra push without 1,000 extra resources worth of musketeers. The first fight didn't go too well. He did get trapped in between these trees and the military buildings. Could have maybe not been what he was looking for. Could have been convincing otherwise. But as Zuta said, the cavalry running him ragged, and perhaps he just chose to bring the villagers with him because having them at home, they're vulnerable. Let's head on out, though. Game number 2. Hopefully that'll be equally as interesting, if not more so. I'll mute my microphone.
Yeah, and one last follow-up point to that game. What was I going to even say? Well, hell, maybe there isn't a last follow-up point. Maybe what's been said has been said. What was I even going to say? Soldier's particular strategy as a result of the map being fairly low hunt was also a bit questionable as well. I feel like on a high hunt map, something like Great Plains or High Plains, Siberia, even something like Hudson Bay where there's slightly more hunt immediately near your base that you can herd and keep really close to your town center to kind of mitigate the fact that raids are really good on low hunt maps, would have been slightly more successful had he had more hunt underneath this town center, could have popped villagers in and out of the town center a little bit more freely, perhaps would have made for a slightly easier time pulling off that strategy, would have made the infantry and their slowness moving around to defend the raids slightly less problematic, and maybe would have been better as a result.
I think Ryan H2O pointing out to me after the game, actually Soldier in that game lost 4 villagers in a raid at some point that we may not have noticed, and having 4 villagers down in a mirror at that early on, that maybe does really say to you, okay, I'm just going to lose the long game if I play it, so I have to do something now, even if it might not work out too well, and just goes for it. Because, if you're 4 villagers down that early on, playing the long game is, really, you're not going to feel good about it.
Yeah, and that was that raid out about 9.5 minutes, and we could see that he, as a result of that raid, basically that was what forced his hand. But going all the way back to like 6 minutes early in the game, before he had even lost anything, I mean, he committed to the dual racks play before he had even lost a single villager. And knowing the map and knowing the matchup, you have to, know that as a result of having low hunts, not having any cavalry units, is going to result in you, being spread fairly thin. And I think Mitoe just played the map and the matchup more convincingly than Soldier did.
Game number 2, though, it looks like I Am Soldier is clicking in as the Sioux on High Plains. Mitoe says, didn't expect Sioux on this map. He has chosen Germany. Though he has not clicked in yet, which does say he's still thinking about it. Germany versus Sioux. What do you think of that?
I feel like you can't play it. You probably don't want to play you don't want to let Sioux raid you. You can probably do something like Tower Rush Sioux or something on this map with Germans and have it be perfectly fine. I don't know that Mitoe will necessarily play this matchup. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna,
there it is, the Sioux mirror.
Just because Sioux are very annoying to deal with, and I don't know that you want to do it without a musketeer civilization. That's the only thing that
I agree.
That I think. I mean, in general, musketeers are like the fail-safe unit because you don't have to worry about whether your opponent is making bow riders or axe riders or whatever. Like, you can just kind of make muskets early in the game and just survive, and then use them to defend your hunts. But Germans don't have that, and so they have to do something either up in Sioux's face, like tempo base, say with a tower rush or some sort of really aggressive expo pike, or else risk just getting raided to pieces.
It's now on I Am Soldier to either click into the Sioux mirror or choose a new civilization. He's not clicked back in, and Mitoe still unclicked. They're still, still potentially thinking about the civilizations here, but Mitoe offering a Sioux mirror to I Am Soldier. We'll see if he takes it or what he chooses, if he perhaps chooses something else.
I think I expect him to play the Sioux mirror. I don't... Oh, it looks like maybe Aztec.
Alright, Aztec. I Am Soldier taking the Aztecs here. Perhaps, I don't know. I'm not sure how good Mitoe is with Sioux or how experienced Soldier is. But Aztec...
Off, right? He'll definitely switch off Sioux here. I don't see him wanting to play Sioux versus Aztec.
Alright, so Aztec mirror. Mitoe offering a Sioux or Aztec mirror to Soldier. Does he switch back to Sioux and take the Sioux mirror, or will he click him as the Aztecs? Or okay, so it looks like he wants to take the Sioux mirror. They won't, like, at this high level, the players won't just keep switching between civs. Well, they might, but they will be different civs. He's not going to just constantly switch between Aztec and Sioux to get an Aztec versus Sioux. He will either have to take the Sioux mirror.
It's interesting that when Mitoe went Sioux, Soldier's counter to Sioux was Aztec, and then when Mitoe offered the Aztec mirror, Soldier swapped into...
Oh, Germany coming out.
Soldier swapped into the matchup that Mitoe was trying to avoid, so that's a bit curious to me as well. I think we're eventually going to land on a German mirror here, which would be like not surprising at all. The other civ I could potentially see Mitoe playing is maybe Brits, because it is Great Plains and Brits are really good on Great Plains, but I don't know that Mitoe's the most comfortable with British. I expect to see him swap over to Germans, and at that point Soldier either goes back to Sioux or accepts the German mirror. Yeah,
he's got his pick then. He's got 3 different mirrors, a Sioux mirror, an Aztec mirror. Okay, looks like he's gonna go for the German mirror. He says, I normally don't mirror like this, but oh well. Never mind. He doesn't have to take a mirror, and it looks like Soldier doesn't want to take a mirror here. It looks like Germany versus Sioux. Both players have clicked in. That was the initial matchup, the 2 civilizations each player had. Mitoe giving in. He perhaps doesn't like the other matchups that have been offered to him as much as this one. We'll have to see what goes on. Let's click into game number 2. This is High Plains, another one of Gaia's map. The players are ready. We are ready. Let's see what happens. Oh, thank God the washing machine's finished. No, it hasn't. Oh, I do not know. But, ladies and gentlemen, we do have spawning in the south of the map. In the color red. The Seth. Yeah. Forgot who clicked in as red. I Am Soldier, playing as the Sioux. There he is. Spawning with 30 food and 30 coin nearby. Not that that's hugely relevant, especially as the Sioux. They're not really going to be going for a market early on, but there he is. In the north, though, Germany, starting with 1 wood, 1 coin, doesn't mean he's going to be able to get a trading post. But in this matchup, okay, is going to gather wood, is going to head straight towards the trading post. No, he's surely not.
Yeah, he does have intentions of building a trading post. Certainly, we can tell. He's got every single one of his settler wagons chopping wood right now, which 100% tells me that he wants a trading post early in the game.
Oh, 140 food. He's going to come across that, but it means he has to build the trading post. He's going to miss the teepee if he wants to grab this. He'll get up a little bit later, but that is a really, really nice treasure to come across. Wait, are they skulls or something on the floor? What did he just walk past? It's a pile of skulls.
Yeah, it's like random skulls.
What?
Unfortunately for... This is going to get really awkward for Mitoe.
Oh, no. Oh, look at that. That outlaw rifleman, 40 ranged attack, just absolutely destroying that guy. It does look rather unfortunate. With Sioux, with all these units nearby, I think he remains undetected, but currently, that 140 food treasure has been found, and with all these units nearby, it's going to be tough to get a trading post up.
Yeah, and even maybe more importantly, he's definitely not going to be able to contest this treasure and get a trading post.
I think he's just elected to build a market instead by the looks of it.
Yeah, indeed, it looks like he has. Which, I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world either.
Ooh.
Oh, he's got his crack shot up. That's really good that he's going to get that.
But Soldier's just abandoning the treasure. Perhaps, going to play it safe like a lot of people do in tournament games. They, choose not to go for the treasure when someone's nearby due to the fact that it could be sniped, and it's just safer for neither player to get it. But it does take the 140 food right from under Soldier's nose, sort of.
Yeah, and that's really big because a big part of Sioux's early game is having some of the best scouting, some of the best treasure creeping potential as a result of having that nature friendship ability, and just the insanity speed that the Sioux war chief does have makes him really efficient at exploring the map. Once again, it looks like he is going to kill Mitoe's explorer, but this time around Mitoe has gotten his explorer to die in a significantly better spot. He is going to be able to immediately wake him up.
Picks up the 30 coin.
And
what? There's beeping now. Oh, dear. I'm going to go turn it off. It's finished now.
And also as a result of having his explorer die here, going to be able to wake him up, build his trading post still, and he got the 140 food treasure. So everything looking really, really good for Mitoe here in the early game. But similarly, nothing has gone poorly here for Soldier. We can see back in his base, his herding has been immaculate. Actually, both players herding incredibly well with their early hunts. And another thing I'd like to point out is that Mitoe, knowing he's up against the Sioux civilization, has come to the realization that he's going to need to secure a lot of hunts safely in his base early on.
Go back!
What are we screaming about?
The hunts are running.
Oh, the hunts are running in the wrong direction.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
He'll be able to fix that. But the important thing is that he has opted to start herding very aggressively very early. We can see that he's starting to get all of these pronghorn, all of these bison working their way right underneath his base, and that's going to be incredibly important in dealing with the raids. And we're soon going to come to the point where we're going to find out what Mitoe is doing, whether or not he's going to just gather for that steel traps and then do some sort of expo pike, or whether he's going, if he's going to do something still fortress based. That's going to be the big decider.
It's going to be interesting. One of the perhaps more interesting points, I don't know, is certainly that he hasn't gone for that tower rush that you were mentioning. That's certainly a strategy I haven't heard in a while. It's not, for those of you, I'm fairly sure most of you will know exactly what it is, but it's not what you'd expect. A tower rush in Age of Empires 2 is very different. You build lots of forward towers. This one, you have a forward tower which you ship military units to and play very, very aggressively. It was very good in vanilla AoE 3 because for some reason you got 9 crossbowmen rather than 8. And for that reason, it was quite strong. But here, no forward villagers coming out. Looks like he is going to have some sort of Fortress Age agenda in mind.
Look at these two guys. So smart by Soldier, realizing that his opponent is going to want to set up a trading post, putting his 2 creature animals right next to the 2 likely trading posts that Mitoe's going to go to.
Wow.
And he's going to get vision of this explorer. And
is he, though? Look at the sort of awkward route Mitoe went around. Is he going to be able to lay this down undetected?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he sees it. Okay. And that 40 ranged attack is going to be very, very strong.
But shot. He's still gonna be able to bring over the Sioux war chief and start harassing him. Now, I do think the trading post will go up, but he's likely going to lose his explorer once again. So a little bit unfortunate there for Mitoe, but
out the doggy though, nicely done.
Oh, look at
no! Get it up?
Wow. It barely got up. We can see 4 Axe Riders coming up very early as the first shipment for Soldier, and that nearly did not go up. And that could have been devastating had it not.
That would have been, absolutely disgusting if it hadn't gone up. But 4 Axe Riders coming out. This is Sioux playing the tempo-based style that we all expect. Though training 5 Axe Riders, not going to be going with the Bow Riders in this particular game. That many Axe Riders could overpower the 8 crossbowman shipment with only 5 pikes to defend against it, or do you think he'll not want to engage at all and just raid?
He's got more pikes out here now. It's very dangerous for Soldier to risk getting trapped underneath here.
Ooh, okay, does gonna lose 1 unit there, but oh no, they're going idle. Engaging with pikemen, not too good. Gonna lose lots of cavalry there. Though, having said that, Axe Riders are quite strong and could kill off all these pikes, but it certainly wouldn't look pretty or be cost efficient.
No, it's certainly not cost efficient. And, I mean, Soldier has gone a bit all in here with his early build. He's shipped Axe Riders, he's built a lot of Axe Riders. Axe Riders cost a lot of resources. They cost 160 food apiece, so it's not like, those are super cheap, easy to recover units. Plus, he's used a shipment on them as well, so definitely a worthwhile pickup there for Mitoe. Has his trading post up, is going to be able to snowball, that into plenty of shipments, a good economy. We can see 3 settler wagons coming out now, and I actually really like the position that Mitoe has found himself in. He's got a good economy. He's got 3 settler wagons, and he didn't take any damage from that early pressure there, and killed a lot of axe riders as a result. So he's kind of got Soldier once again on the back foot. And, you know, I expect his next shipment to be 700 wood. And when that comes, I think we're going to see an explosion of units and a strong timing push with a lot of crossbows and a lot of pikes.
Certainly, yep. What do you think of starting with axe riders as opposed to, say, bow riders?
It's tough. I would personally opt for fortress-based play with Sioux here, regardless. I don't know that I'm not a big fan of like just the big ball of bow riders beats everything type of strategy, which I know is pretty popular right now, but I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's definitely got flaws with it, and as a result, I'm not sure that I would probably just like made a couple axe riders and then just tried to age up and get, you know, Wakinas and keep those axe riders alive as long as possible and just continue to raid with them instead of opting for this, you know, 700 wood continuation with trading posts and stuff like that. I don't know that it's in Sioux's best interest to continue to be in Age 2 versus a German player who's certainly going to have a much stronger economy than you. I think he wants to find his way into the next stage, and we can see Mitoe shipping 700 wood, building a second barracks, and is going to have a lot of units out. And despite the fact that, you know, there may be some good raids here from Soldier, at the same time, there's going to be so many units from Mitoe, and he may just find himself in a position where he just dies to like 40 pikes and 40 crossbowmen right-clicking out across the middle of the map.
Yeah, the longer the game goes is definitely in favor of Mitoe, simply because of the villager shipments and the fact that he has access to steel traps and this timing is going to be, you know, lots of crossbowmen and pikemen could be really, really tough for this, well, for Sioux to deal with at this point. Has he done enough damage early on? Probably not. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, take a look at the villager counts. Villager population's 40 versus 37. And this entire time, Mitoe has had steel traps working for him as well. So a very strong economy for Mitoe. A lot of units. And we can see Soldier continuing with the Age 2 based play. He has shipped 600 wood. He's shipped 7 war clubs. Has no intentions of aging up. In fact, basically has 0 gold, so not going to be able to do so anytime soon. And as a result, like, Mitoe's got so many units going to be coming here across the map.
50 military unit population versus what has only just been evened up to 45. It was something like 37, but no doubt, you know, another batch of units from Mitoe will arrive any moment now, and you know there's a lot of units coming his way.
Yep, and when that's, you know, when the units really start pushing in here, Sioux's infantry is not good. War clubs, set and bows, certainly not the premier units of the Age of Empires League, right? Like they're not a very scary unit, and it's going to take some
stable.
Yeah, it's going to take some really good positioning and maybe a timely shipment to be able to really be able to deal with what Mitoe currently has.
Yeah, it does take out some of the cavalry for free, which is nice, but equally Mitoe picking up a stable for free, which is perhaps even nicer. Cavalry now coming forward. Looks like he's, you know, going to try and get a little bit of damage in with the bow riders here. Not going to commit with the axe riders, of course. Bow riders are doing some damage to the pikes, but, you know, taking some damage from the crossbowmen as well. Doesn't look like he wants to commit to that, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and I do wonder whether or not Mitoe is shifting gears here. We can see he's started to collect quite a bit of coin, has shipped 700 coin as well, so he is starting to transition into... looks like a couple... big Doppelsonder pop.
Oh, wow.
Big Doppelsonder pop.
21 indeed. Yeah. What do you think of these? They looked really, really convincing just a moment ago when all of the units were right next to the barracks and they popped out. But these things are, you know, fairly slow moving, easily picked off.
Yeah.
Certainly very strong against the hand cavalry, which, you know, I Am Soldier does have a fairly reasonable amount of. But against the bow riders...
Yeah, not so
That's
good.
what I'm more concerned.
Yeah, and I thought the collection of gold was maybe a signal that Mitoe was going to start working his way towards the Third Age, which I think would be big raid coming in here.
Yeah, that is big.
Minutemen
Minutemen
being
called.
called.
Some crossbowmen there as well, going to get picked up as well. This is, you know, maybe what Soldier needs to even up the villager count, which is now definitely in favor of Mitoe.
Yeah, but at the same time, most of his hand cav are here back across on this right-hand side of the map, and Mitoe has a very large force pushing in here.
Yeah.
He may just be able to force down the town center here without any sort of conflict.
Because he knows
his opponent's hand cavalry is all across the map, and look at how quickly that town center is going to go down to all this hand infantry.
Yeah, and the Doppelsudden is mixed in there as well. Absolutely monstrous here. Do you at this point not even like?
Nope, you take down that town center. You take down
just
the town
leave
center.
the siege units dealing damage to it.
Yep.
Take that out. Wow. There it goes. Is he just gonna get out of here now?
He's going to get out of here as intelligently as he can. I mean, he's going to try and mitigate the damage that he's going to take leaving. Try and kill as many units as possible.
He's dog soldiers. Oh god. Okay,
he's fine here. He's got this now. I mean, his opponent's working with town center. A couple of Ulans coming in, going to be really difficult for the Settenbows to deal with. And now just the complete lack of hand cavalry. It doesn't even matter. Like Mitoe, all he needs to do is just not die here. And if we take a look at what Soldier currently has left, a handful of Settenbows, 1 or 2 bow riders, and no hand cavalry. Really nothing that's super threatening to him. Mitoe has thrown up a stable, going to be able to mix in a couple of Ulans. And I think that's going to end Soldier's run here in this second game, just due to the fact that he has no town center. He has... well, I guess he does fortunately have somewhere to send his shipments now that he does have that war hut up, but he's going to be playing a major game of catch-up, and Mitoe's economy clicking on all cylinders here at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 villagers down exactly is Soldier without a TC, so that's a neat... Wait, we have a fight here.
Yeah.
There's not really enough cavalry to sort of do any lasting damage. He's just going to get further back to the safety of his town center and the pseudo protection the barracks is offered by popping out units here. It doesn't look like he's really any immediate threat, especially with the extra 5 cav joining.
Yeah, and I think...
Pikemen in on the wrong side, but really it really doesn't matter too much. But yeah, 11 villagers up. His opponent doesn't have a town center, which makes him immediately 600 wood down, but also means has to not have it for a while and then rebuild it, and all of that time you're not making villages. Mitoe just going to get further and further ahead with steel traps as well.
And out pops 10 Doppelsudders. If the game wasn't already over, I assure you that it was when those 10 Doppelsudders popped out. GG called. Mitoe taking game number 2.
Wow, this is shaping up to be a series. I know Mitoe's certainly a very good player, and Soldier as well, but honestly, I think I had my money on Soldier.
It was really hard. If you would have asked me at the beginning of this series who I thought was going to win, I would have probably put it at like 55-45 Soldier, but Mitoe has looked like really on point here. He looks like he's been playing a lot, practicing a lot, and he is playing very crisply. He's got his builds down. His herding has been immaculate. I mean, so much of being good against playing against Sioux is controlling your hunts well early in the game. In Mitoe's early hunt control, he never had to leave. I mean, I've made this concept before of Zuta's box, right? Where like there's this little area around your town center that is the theoretical like maximum that you should have to have villagers in. And for probably the first 8 minutes of the game, where Germany is really exposed to potential raids, every single one of Mitoe's villagers was inside that box. They were all safe. They were gathering from trees, hunts, coin mines, all inside this little tiny box right up next to his town center, which made it very easy to defend the early pressure. And as a result, it took very little damage. In fact, he probably didn't take any damage. And look, he didn't lose a villager until the 11.5 minute mark, which against the PR40 Sioux player is absolutely lights out winning the game.
It's really nice. I just this is completely off topic, but I just joined the game lobby browser, and I see 2v2 no Ottomans hosted by a sergeant. It just made me laugh.
That's great. Don't lie. We've all been at that point where we don't want to play against Otto. It's like you can play anything you want. I don't even care if you play like Eero. Just don't play Otto, because the last thing I want to deal with is Vet Jans and 2 Falconets sieging away at my town center at 6.5 minutes or 7 minutes. It's just the pits, man.
Sorry, I just found that funny, so I thought I'd mention it. back in the game, though, you know, I was reading the chat during there. I'd just like to point out that you can't see what I'm seeing. Sometimes I forget that. Like, obviously, it's Zuta's perspective, but sometimes I'm looking at something that, and then I'll make a comment and it doesn't always appear. Anyway, you know.
I do try and, like, if you're saying something that's relevant to, like...
No, well, I just mean, like, I usually record and put my perspective up, so it's not always... I'm not always so conscious of the fact that we're not looking at the same thing 100% of the time. I mean, like, 90% of the time we are, but...
Yeah, for the most part, I think we pretty much watch the same things, but...
Yeah, but, yeah. Anyway,
there is a lot going on in any given game that can be, like... It's hard to, like, catch every little single detail, especially when you're driving the camera and trying to talk at the same time.
Yeah, just got that off my chest. But we do have the next map, which is Hudson Bay. One of your favorites.
I love this map. I think it's like...
Because it's Saguenay, right? That's
it's
really...
Sag. I mean, it's just so, like... It's got everything that you would really want in it. It's got some sort of water presence. It's got a decent amount of hunts without being, like, an overbearing, like, I never have to leave my base number of hunts. It's got the trading post line split right down the middle so that, you know, there's always going to be some sort of congestion over the trading post. Oftentimes, you know, you have the trading posts that are, like, on Mongolia, for example, it's really far north, and you're never going to really see much conflict over the trading site until super late in the game, just because if you're committing resources to the north side of the map, you know, something probably bad is happening in your opponent's base or in your base as a result. But you just got the trading post line right in the middle, so it's, like, easy to, you know, kind of fight over that, and there's not a terribly large amount of room behind your base, making, you know, kind of like super defensive wally play a little less, but there's also, you know, like, kind of these pockets where you can kind of, like, wedge yourself into. I don't know, it's just, it's a really interesting map. It's a really interesting map that just brings so much diversity of gameplay to it.
Yeah, definitely. We hear I'm Soldier. Looks like he's reflecting on what he should have done in the chat there. He thinks that he thought his opponent was starting crossbow, and that explains why he went so heavy on. You know, perhaps your opponent makes 10 crossbow first out of his two barracks or something like that. Then you'll least cap absolutely destroy your opponent. And anyway, but you know, here we have Saguenay. Mitoe can no longer play as the Germans, having just played them in the previous game. That is now disabled. Soldier, however, has not played Germans yet. And is very much entitled to do so on this map. Perhaps partly he chose to avoid mirrors is so that, you know, you could play Germany, which is a fairly strong civ on a trading post map. Not against Germany.
Sure, and it's also one of Soldier's best civs as well. I mean, when I think back of historically civs that Soldier has played a lot of, Germans is the first civ that comes to mind. Certainly Brits is probably a high number 2, but... Germans has, for the longest time that I've known Soldier, which is quite some time now, since 2008, 2009 probably, Germans has always been one of his go-to civs. And so no surprise to me seeing that he wants to play Germans in what is certainly a deciding game, a very important game. And, interesting choice from Mike.
India coming out. India on Saguenay against Germany. All right.
And looks like Soldier has accepted the matchups, clicked in.
Soldier's happy with it. Looks like that is the case. Is Mitoe happy? Perhaps it was just one of those, I'm going to lay down India and see how you respond. Maybe you'll switch off, play a different civ. Like, you don't necessarily actually have to play India here. Maybe it's like one of those mind game tricks. You're like, I really don't want Soldier to play India. You're like, as you were saying, historically, Germany, a very strong civ, especially for Soldier. Maybe he's just trying to force him into something else since... You know, if he truly wanted to play India, the game would be happy. Oh, okay, never mind. Looks like
he's gonna pick it. I mean, his other real option is probably Brits in this situation, and I know that Mitoe has never considered himself like a stellar Brits player, so India doesn't really surprise me here. Plus, let's face facts: India, with the current tournament set of rules, is lights out one of the strongest civs. So,
yeah,
they're good.
So. Though, here we are, spawning with India in the left-hand side of the map. We do have Mitoe playing, well, in the colour cyan. Yes, I think I covered all the 3 major points. Civilization, player, and colour, certainly the ones to get right. But, yes, in the right-hand side of the map, though, Soldier playing as the Germans here. He I missed his wood crate start.
It was a high wood start. It was a 200 wood crate start.
All right.
So,
Gonna be pretty happy about that then.
yeah, looks like he's going to immediately drop down a trading post, opting for the one in the middle of the map. And as a result, going to be able to catch that trading site on its second pass. Not going to get a first pass. Of course, that's not possible to do with, I believe, any of the spawns, save for, building down here. I think you can catch the first pass down there. But
yeah, but that's basically the second pass at that point, since
yeah, it's the last socket on the map, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Mitoe picking up a 60 wood treasure, definitely going to be very helpful for him. Of course, the Indian villagers do cost wood. For those of you who may be a little bit newer to the Age of Empires 3 scene, having wood-costing villagers does mean that they have to gather this very slow-gathering resource early on in the game, which can result in a slightly slower age-to-age-up time. So finding that nice, big, early wood treasure is something that's going to be very beneficial to him, and is going to allow him to spend a little less time chopping wood and a little bit more time gathering food before he transitions to the second age.
Soldier, though, does pick up a 40 wood treasure as well. Not quite as big or as useful, say, for a civilization like India, but 40 wood, certainly nothing to scoff at. Does have a 125 wood treasure nearby, but I don't think you may have saw it. It might just be off the edge of his exploration, because I think if you see that, you certainly go for it. And I think, at this point has no reason not to go for it. Hasn't used his crack shot on anything like that. 125 wood, maybe he's going back for it now. Check the minimap. Oh, crap, I've got to go get that. That is going to be really nice for him in the next stage because of, well, steel traps. Maybe even another second trading post? Probably not, but certainly a good treasure.
There's some really good treasures. There's an additional 100 wood here, and there is a 150 food treasure down here as well, which Mitoe is currently in the process of taking. So really good treasures here. And I want to point out kind of a neat little thing that Mitoe did here. Of course, the India explorers do have a slight splash damage associated with their Guardian attack. They do have that 2 extra splash damage, so we can see that Mitoe stunned one of the bears and then lured the other bear close to his mate, and then as a result was able to was able to get that kind of stacking splash damage working there, taking as little damage as possible, and picking up that 150 food treasure. Definitely going to feel good. We can see the Agrafort already underway here in the middle of the map, and certainly aided by the very good treasures that Mitoe has found early in the game.
Definitely. The wood treasure means less villagers on wood. The food treasure means you get it down a bit quicker. I'm not necessarily sure if it did speed up the Agrafort or by how much if it did, but definitely good treasures. Agrafort now coming down, and Germany has now just started aging, switching his villagers over to wood. Likely to be building a market at this point. Certainly with the big wood treasure that actually he hasn't managed to grab yet. Now going back for it.
Yeah, it looks like he just opted to crack a single bear and then go back, playing it a little bit safer. Of course, India doesn't have an instant kill like all of the native and European civs do. Of course, all of the Asian civs don't have that instant kill. They have some sort of stun capability instead, which means that on killing big single guardians, you're going to at least have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of time to react when they do begin to take that. So, Soldier opting to play it a little bit slow on that treasure, still gets it, still gets the benefit from it. Just has to double back.
What do you think of the early siege, though, on that? Does this tell us he has intentions of just straight up sieging this down? He's going to be shipping 5 Sepoy as his first shipment, or indeed, this is just close to the Agrafort. The first batch of units could come out, siege this trading post down, though it actually has stopped doing that now. Going to go grab that 100 wood treasure, and absolutely that is the thing to do. That is a lot of wood.
Yeah, he certainly is going to play aggressively. You wouldn't put your Agrafort down here if you didn't have intentions of playing aggressive. I don't know whether or not he'll go 5 Sepoy aggressive. We can see certainly Soldier expecting some sort of aggressive play with this ring of walls that he's begun to set up in his base. But at the same time, I wouldn't be completely shocked to see Mitoe ship 600 wood as his first shipment. He knows that he'll have these 2 Sepoys. He knows he has the Agrafort to fall back to. And so he can feel pretty confident taking down this trading post while still playing economically behind it. I don't think he really has to worry too much about, like Soldier coming out and with the 5 Sepoys, 4 Sepoys, it looks like joining, being trained. I kind of expect.
Oh, 5 Sepoy does come out as his first shipment. Looks like Mitoe is going to play the super aggressive game here. This, though, playing into this wall, I don't know if he's necessarily seen it. He certainly has now, and he's not going to be... perhaps if he'd seen it sooner, maybe he would have chosen to send 600 wood, which is certainly a lot safer. And, you boom your own economy, which you have you complete control over. Whereas sending 5 Sepoy, you're hoping to maybe do a bit of extra damage early on and damage your opponent more, which is perhaps sometimes more difficult, especially if your opponent adds down this wall.
Yeah, and I was just about to say right before those 5 Sepoy popped, having scouted the wall, I think he'll send 600 wood. And then, of course, the 5 Sepoys popped in, and it was completely irrelevant to the point that I was about to make. But now, as you mentioned, like with this wall, with the couple crossbows out, going to be really difficult to actually do any lasting damage here. We can see he's going to start applying a little bit of pressure here to the front, sieging down one of the segments of walls. But I don't know that that's going to be necessarily super effective. He's going to take a little bit of damage here from the crossbows, going to return fire a little bit and then go back. And at this point, certainly 600 wood is going to be in line as his next shipment and going to start getting his economy ramping up behind this as well. We can see has built a market, has researched hunting eagles and civil servants, and likely just going to continue with that. Professional hunters coming up as well.
Yeah, and it looks like, it is going to go back sort of into that economic thing. Doesn't want to keep pushing into this, and understandably so. But Soldier going to be pretty happy about the fact that 5 Sepoy has came out. I'm sure he would have noticed that it was a shipment, not that the opponent had trained that many, because it just slows India down by an entire shipment here, whilst Germany just goes about whatever it is he wants to do, knowing that India is, perhaps a bit slower as a result of the shipment he chose to send.
Yeah, and really good reaction here from Soldier as well. We can see that he did not overcommit to the crossbow play. It would be very easy to slam down a second barracks with that 700 wood and panic and overmake crossbows while your opponent is just happily booming away behind this. Instead, opting to raid his opponent, realizing that his opponent's not going to be putting on any more pressure, and continuing to gather resources for an age up. We can see now that the food is approaching the 1200 mark.
Does he pick up the villager, or does he get into the town center? No, nicely picked up. Would have been quite tempting to just finish off those 2 elements, but the killing the villager paid off from there. Go ahead.
Certainly. And as I was mentioning, it looks like Soldier going to be able to find his way into the next stage here very, very quickly. Only needs 150 more coin, and then we'll be able to click up. Looks like he's got all of his villagers tasked to do so. And there it goes. There comes the age up. And he does have a shipment in store as well, so when he does get aged up with Exiled Prince, is going to have a shipment and going to be able to use that power spike to push back out across the map. We can see Mitoe currently, as it were right now, does not have the resources required to age, just continuing to build things back in his base, continuing to ramp up his economy, get upgrades, and power up his economy the best he can. Consulate coming down now, so doesn't have intentions of aging up himself. And we're going to find ourselves in kind of the classical, German power spike moment where he's going to have a shipment available to him. He's going to be pushing out across the map. And it's going to be up to India to fight this off, stabilize in Age 2, and then either just control the map with resources or try and find some sort of a window where he feels like he can age up himself. We'll have to see how he opts to play it. But for the time being, it looks like just continuing to train units, continuing to power up his economy, and is going to deal with this onslaught of German Age 3 units in the second age himself.
Yeah, that is quite the quantity of coin stockpiling in Soldier's Bank. 900 coin there, no food. Looks like he has intentions of just sending a mercenary shipment. Let's take a look at his deck, and the ones available to him are Black Riders and of course, the Hessian Jaegers.
Jaeger's going to be really good here. Of course, they do outrange Gurkha quite nicely. They also give you a really strong way of dealing with the Sepoy, which is certainly going to be useful. And we can see Mitoe has started mixing some Zams as well. So as a result of that, going to be able to start pressuring those as well. So all of those things taken into consideration, I think we'll expect to see Jaegers from Soldier here is his next shipment. We can see, looks like he took a quick pit stop with 9 Ulans, which is certainly to be expected. But after that, I do believe we'll see the Jaegers come out.
9 Ulans, one of the stronger shipments, just standalone. There's so many units for a single thing. But also, it's difficult to have all the coin ready to send the Jaegers the second you hit up. So certainly, now just has sent them. Actually, he's got a shipment ready. I'm probably waiting on population. So a house, over pop 94 pop over. Like let's slamming down 2 houses.
Yeah.
Villager production or production of any kind is going to be really awkward for the time being. But the power spike those mercenaries will be quite big and could be really good for the reasons we pointed out. What does concern me is that often just making regular units is sort of stronger. This does have the surprise factor and sort of the power spike factor, but yeah, mercenaries generally seem better when you're like fighting defensively in your base and then suddenly you pop out this massive quantity of units.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. What would be better, do you think? Regular units or...
It's hard to say.
Either way, it's what he's chosen.
Either way, it's what he's chosen. But I think big raid coming in here could be a little bit sketchy here for Mitoe. How many villagers is he going to lose? Looks like he's going to lose 1, 2...
And does take some damage though from these from the anti-cavalry centuries and of course the Zambaraks coming in to defend. Was it worth it? That's the question. Does pick up 2 villages though. Isn't too bad, but that's a lot of cap.
I mean, and we can see. So the point I was just about to make before this raid was, you're still going to want Ulans, you're still going to want vet Ulans, and I almost feel like shipping Jaegers maybe slows that down a lot because you have to use a lot of your wood. That instead of getting upgrades and shipping Ulans and getting Ulan upgrades to make houses to deal with the fact that you're shipping a mercenary shipment, which takes an incredible amount of population space. And then on top of that, he just lost some of his Ulans before they hit veterancy status and engaged in the fight as well. So all of those things rolled into one could make it a little awkward here in this fight. But still, as you mentioned, the Jaeger's an incredibly powerful unit, going to be really good here at pushing out across the map, combined with the traditionally strong German units, of 8 Skirm 3 Ulan and 9 Ulan, going to be really, really strong as he pushes out here across the middle of the map.
Yeah, there is a lot of... they are even on population, but there seems to be a lot of Mitoe units here. Just going to slam into that. Do you think that's a good idea? It might be hard to judge, actually, how powerful these units are. There's not a huge amount of anti-cav, but going to bring down those cav, and the Jaegers are really quite strong.
Yeah, but if you can get up in the Jaeger's face, like we're seeing Mitoe do right now, where they're forced to use their hand attack instead of their ranged attack. Their hand attack is only 15 versus a 30 ranged attack. So by just jamming everything up there, forcing them into hand combat, we can see Mitoe winning that fight quite convincingly, and now is going to have quite a bit of tempo pushing back against his opponent at this point.
Yeah, look at the population. You can just see how well that fight went for Mitoe. Starting on what was about even population, Soldier down quite a lot in terms of units there, and doesn't really have the economy to be stronger. Like it's a good economy, certainly has more villages than his opponent, but is it going to be enough to bounce back?
Yeah, we can see 8 Ulans coming here is the next card, but importantly, the important thing about playing, this kind of style with Germany is you have to allow that big power spike to get you out of your base and keep the pressure away from you. We can see now Soldier completely running out of resources. In fact, all of his gold gathering vills did go completely idle, and so despite the fact that he kind of held and has his next shipment here, he doesn't have the resources required to continue to train units and to continue to fight for map control. And as a result, his next coin mine is way out here, which is going to be very awkward to defend. Certainly not going to be able to defend this one out here, and he's going to have to try and sneak some villagers down to the south of the map. And I'm afraid that he's not going to be able to muster back enough units to deal with, the very strong India presence that's going to be controlling his coin mines here for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. It looks like that's where the villagers are going, to that southerly coin mine. All vulnerable, doesn't have the units, I think, as you pointed out, to protect them. If he just can't gather coin there, that shuts down the game. And Mitoe, if he identifies this, where is my opponent gathering coin, he could just win from here. And actually, Soldier going to get back, not going to go to that coin mine at all. Has no coin income whatsoever at this point in the game. And what do you do without coin?
It's Germany, you resign, unfortunately, is the answer. And Mitoe is obviously a very good German player himself. In fact, it's, I think, what he would consider his main civilization. And accordingly, checking the coin mines, he knows how imperative it is for the German player to have a coin mine, and just using the map control he's established now, just to continue to rain terror on these coin mines. We can see he's bounced back and forth between this one in the north, down to this one in the south where he knows his opponent is likely trying to gather from, and going to force an engagement over here. This may be do or die time for Soldier.
This is it. He has to take the fight, because if he doesn't, then your villagers continue to not gather. The question is, can he win it? Like,
I don't think there's enough Jaegers still in the mix. The Umans obviously being very good hand attack units, but unfortunately I don't think he just has enough stuff to be able to push his way out. The longer these trades go, obviously Mitoe's economy is very, very strong, and just evening up these fights is all that Mitoe needs to do to continue his presence on the map. I mean, it's not just that Soldier needs to win a fight. He needs to win a fight convincingly enough so that he can begin to gather coin again, and that's just not happening. We can see things going about even. Yeah, I guess he got like an okay trade there when you consider, you know, the army populations before and after, but it's just not going to be enough. And Mitoe just sprinting in here with a couple of sours. Looks like he's just going to continue to keep up the pressure, and that's really all he needs to do, is apply pressure and force his opponent into a situation where he just can't gather coin. And he kind of just wins by default, because Germany has to have a lot of coin to really make their agenda work in Age 3.
Yeah, and at this point, it looks rather tough.
Yeah. It's all over crying at this point.
Yeah,
unfortunately. Obviously, is, you know, the deciding game of a tournament, of Soldier's tournament life. He doesn't want to resign just yet, but we can see in the scores Mitoe taking a fairly decidedly advantage. Just look at the amount of cyan out across the middle of the map, where he's able to gather resources, shutting down the raids with these Zams in the south side of the map. And as a result, just bouncing back and forth between the coin mines, continuing to exert his dominance in the middle portion of the map. And we can see, look at how desperate Soldier is to get a coin mine, building 2 outposts to attempt to defend this coin mine.
Is that just a result of having had so much wood gather time because he wasn't gathering coin, that he has the wood to do that, and you might as well, because you need to have coin? He's going to deny these outposts. Mitoe knows what he's doing, and by the looks of it, just going to crush the German presence.
Yeah. We can see one of these outposts looks like it may get up, but what's really the result of getting up an outpost if you can't continue to, you know, defend said outpost?
Oh dear, that's rather sad. It was literally 95, perhaps 99% done.
Yeah, and GG is called. Mitoe winning 3-0 in what
Mitoe progressing to the next round very convincingly. Soldier is eliminated from the tournament.
Wow, that was really well played by Mitoe. Like, he played every matchup correctly, and just like it looked like he knew exactly what he wanted to do in every single matchup, and it was just always one step ahead of Soldier. Like, he was always making the right units, he was always doing like the right strategy, controlling the map in the correct way. Everything he did was just well thought out, well prepared, and it took 3 very convincing games as a result. Very convincing games.
Yeah, I would agree there. That does conclude the tournament games for today, though tomorrow I believe we have lots to come. I'm not sure if they've necessarily been put on the schedule yet, but certainly there will be games tomorrow. I am available tomorrow, so I'll be casting tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be around as well.
But for today, I think we have some 2v2s coming up that will be cast.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to get Sam. I'm going to message Sam and be ready to do the 2v2s. You got the maps? Question mark? We'll just get those set up.
Apparently...
for those of you who may just be joining, Saturday SmackDown has been in full swing for a full hour and 15 minutes. Normally we start SmackDown at 1 o'clock my time, which is 20 GMT. And so for those of you who may have showed up at that time expecting SmackDown to be the traditional 15 minutes late and wondering like why the hell we're already a best of 5 into the day, we did have some special games lined up. They were the tournament games for the ESOC Summer Tournament. In which
I'm surprised you didn't put. I'm surprised they did start an hour early. I thought they'd start at 9 or 1 p.m. your time.
Yeah, I think this was the time that Soldier needed to play just due to the fact that he has other stuff that he was doing.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So we started there, and then Sam had the idea that maybe we could do some team games as well. Or there was a thread on the ESOC forum basically asking if we could do some team game style SmackDown games, and I said I'm certainly up for it if we can get the maps and the players assembled for it. I think it would be a nice change of pace, something that would, a little something different, a little breath of fresh air, as it were. And
yeah, I haven't ever casted a team game nor really played them competitively properly, so I'm not sure.
Yep.
How to handle this. It'd be fun, certainly. It'd be an experience.
You just kind of watch and I don't know. I don't know that there's a lot of 2v2 comes down to like the unit compositions, like the civ compositions, and like so you take a really strong composition in general, like Musk Huss, and then you take like the best musket civ and the best Huss civ. And so like you think of like what are some of your like really strong musket civs. You got things like British, you've got Japanese, India I guess is like a really strong musket civ. And then you think okay, what are my best cav civs? You got Germany, you've got French, civs like that, right? And so if you combine those two, like take the best parts of both of those civs, and you have like a really strong Musk civ going musket, and you have a really strong Huss civ going Huss, and you combine them, and you kind of cover up their weaknesses with other civ strengths. Then you can really have like some really strong compositions. So.
Zutazuta, wait, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it looks like we have players. It looks like it's gonna be Sam, H2O, Black Star OP, and Musket JR.
Oh, okay. Wow, some big names. Just kick this off.
Fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking of having, I don't know, this was just a random thought and it may not ever happen, but I was thinking of asking you, would you be willing to turn SmackDown, or at least incorporate into SmackDown, some sort of like league style, Age of Empires 3 league style thing, where we have like different clans produce like a team of 3 and they have, 1v1s, and we have like a league table.
Sure, I'd love that. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,